Hey, Christine, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Yeah.
I see you always sunny as usual. You're
No,
like,
thank you. And you're always passionate. You have that, how do you say, that welcoming nature. And especially in the Zambian culture, because I also spent some time in culture, it's like you always have that karibu, like welcome culture vibe with you, love and welcome. So it's impossible not to be sunny around you.
you. So as usual, Mercy.
Thank you.
And passionate you are about the topics that you discuss. I've never seen somebody so excited to talk about procrastination.
I know,
It's a bad word. So, Mercy, before I get into what you do, I want to know why procrastination is a topic and how we have different styles and types. Like, isn't procrastination just procrastination?
Christine, I must say, I've been so obsessed. I think the nature of my work and background being industrial psychology, I have come to embrace the uniqueness of individuals and how differently we do things, and how most of the things that we manifest tend to be very, very just symptoms. So, and I would say in the past 2 years, I've come to realize that procrastination tends to be more like a symptom of what is going on actually underneath. And the past 2 years, I've really, like you say, come to have a certain passion to just study why people do the things that they do. And I tend to use this example. I always feel like procrastination is just a symptom of the problem, the headache, so to say. Whereas you will bombard yourself with powder, with ibuprofen, where actually the headache is literally just caused by anger. You've been thirsty. You just need to eat something. Or that headache is just caused by something as also slightly serious as high blood pressure. You understand? So have been different in terms of how we think, how we prefer doing things. I've come to realize that even the reason why we procrastinate, the root cause of that putting off something, is what is the major problem, and not actually procrastination. So this is why I'm passionate about procrastination.
And it's amazing how many people actually don't achieve their goals because they don't get started, or they start and then they stop, or they delay, and we always have such a pretty way of putting it. Oh, I was busy, or there was a complication. Like, we always have a reason, right?
Yes. And some of us actually, the majority of people tend to comfort themselves and say, I'm actually better when I'm under stress. I actually produce better results when I'm under pressure. However, you will find that those people, I promise you, Christine, that 100% of all those people, one regret they tend to have is not having started earlier. Most of them tend to communicate the fact that I feel like my results are good, but they would have been better if I had started earlier, if I had put a bit more effort, if I had gotten to that other source of information, or that other tool and stuff like that. You find that there's always that little bit of regret. And that's what started fascinating me about procrastination, in terms of that little detail that they say, if I had started earlier, or if I could have just gone a bit further to get more information that I needed, because I had information at hand, but then deadline hit at the last minute. That is such a common sort of, and like I say, honestly, 100% of everybody, including the ones that claim they are better last minute, they've always had that regret.
So what are the different styles or types of procrastination, since it's not just a cookie cutter approach? How does it differ? Because To the average person, procrastination is just, I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
Yes, yes. There are actually 6 differences that I got to learn, and especially with my association with Jewel Brown, who's one of the people that I consider my my mentors, because he's also fascinating by all this. We have slightly differences, but the major types of procrastination are about 6, and I would say one of the first and common ones that most people struggle with is trying to wait for the perfect environment, perfect situation, the all or nothing kind of personality. And I must say, as you might know, I'm very obsessed with people's thinking styles, people's personality, and this really does play in the kind of personality that I mean, in the type of procrastination that you find yourself in. So you get a personality that don't like looking stupid. They like all the facts all put together, and this is a personality that you find that they never get started until they have everything right. They have all the information, the environment, the weather is not too hot, it's just like end of February, I mean end of April, right? Not too hot, not too cold kind of thing. This is the obsessive idealist. So these are the people that it's an all or nothing kind of thing. They seem to be planning in planning mode the whole time, planning to plan and to get ready, so to say. And it's never the perfect time to actually start, because there's still so much information to gather. There's still so much weathering to do and stuff like that. So this is the obsessive idealist, because they want it perfect. And whether we like it or not, no environment, no weather. They always say, I like the idea that, you know, there's no perfect moment to start anything but now. The right or the perfect time is now. But these people, they struggle to even start. This is the obsessive idealist sort of procrastination type. So this is one of them, and I find that this is very, very common. And this type of procrastinator, you find that they're very judgmental of themselves as well as judgmental of other people. Actually, they're more harder on themselves because they feel like everything is within their control. Even the weather is within their control. They'll not start building that dream house until the weather is just perfect. You understand? So it's those little details, and people don't realize that it's not that you're putting off something or delaying something. There's something more to it that you can actually deal with it. Because all procrastinating types, Christine, that I've also found, we always think that the next time we'll do better, and then we fall into the same cycle. And this is what interested me. Again, like I say, the reasons why, the regrets that we have tend to be slightly different at that. I'll start earlier next time, or I'll gather more information next time, or I'll do better but in a different kind of way. So the obsessive idealist, you find that they're very judgmental, and they want a perfect environment to get started. And one of the other things, the second type of procrastination, Christine, is the big shot. Why do we call it a big shot? The big shot feels like, you know, they have all these very, very big sort of ideas. And the sad thing is the ideas are so big. The dreams are so big. Like, I want to start a consulting job, but I don't really have an action plan on how to go about it. And it's just one of those things, like the way how big they think, it is so big that they think like, okay, now let me start with that firm that I want to start. Let me start with that new company, whether it's like now we are all talking about, I mean, considering my background and where I'm working, we are all into renewable energy, for example. So one of the ideas I'd be like, okay, definitely I've noticed that wind is the perfect company to start venturing into renewable energy. But now, just the thought of going to Lutherets here in Namibia, where there's more wind, and to start putting everything in action for a strategy and for an action plan to get to the wind, in the middle of it, I'm like, boring, maybe. no, something exciting has just come along. I think sun is everywhere. So these kind of hotshot kind of people, they move from one project to the next, from one big idea to the next. So with these people, I always find that if they can find somebody, because they're very, very good with the best ideas. And I promise you, Christine, if these people are the people that even the banks will fight over because the ideas are so great, but they just don't have the patience to actually sit and start implementing because there's a next great idea that pops in tomorrow. So they leave one project to the next and to the next and to the next because there's just so much that they feel they can do. There's so much, and these ideas are viable, but they don't have time to think of an action plan on implementing. And then they feel like, no, if we start implementing this, there's just another great one along the way. So my advice to always these people is find somebody who grounds you. Partner up. These people are really best when they partner up with what I would call in psychology an implementer, a person who implements and follows through. Because the ideas are always great. The ideas are always viable. And they have ideas that would change the world. But these ideas are just too great for them and they paralyze them. Or these ideas are just too, the aspect of implementation. So these are twofold. The ideas is too great for them to start implementing, or by the time they want to implement, they get bored and there's another great idea. So this is the people that must always have a partner that is not exactly like them. These are the people that there's no way to just get them going. They just need a partner.
That's very interesting, Mercy, because I've found, one of the things that I do in my coaching practice is vision implementing. So I got it when you said implementing, because a lot of times there are people with these huge ideas that overwhelm them, and they have 20 ideas, amazing ideas, but because they're so big and there's so many, there's a block, and it's, then they don't know how to get started or whether to get started, and then it's an issue of let me just postpone, and then nothing ever happens.
And that is so common. And what I always try and see when I sense that this is the person's type of procrastinator, I ask them actually to say, all these ideas that you have, do you mind just putting them in order of priority? Order of priority, and let's work around which one can we start working on now. And I always use, Christine, the analogy, the RSVP in everything that I do. RSVP means results that you're trying to achieve. What systems do you have in place to that whatever big project that you embark on? Systems are, I would give you an idea. I was literally today, I was dealing with a client who was saying they want to start a consultancy. So I'm like, okay, what are the systems at your disposal? How do you think you can add value? I even told the person, look, commit to one day of the week where you can actually start looking at getting crowds, for example, getting an audience, what you're trying to share, the knowledge that you're trying to share, the story that you're trying to do. Start posting. If you're not so verbal, start posting something in writing. It could be, if it's verbal, a 10-minute thing on, let's say, she is or he is more passionate with Twitter. Post something on Twitter about this thing that you're passionate. How to develop yourself as a new professional. What are the challenges that you have experienced? How are you ignored? How are you bullied in the workplace? All these things that you want. Start posting and you will get some feedback, and you will get people even giving you ideas on topics to address. Then the results is you want to focus on helping people. The systems at your disposal are Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is a system. It's the tools that you can use to start posting this to determine if people are into this and people can really relate. Then the value that you'll be adding itself, people start responding in terms of, oh my God, I read your post on, let's say, workplace bullying. I read your post on actually how there's so much wind in Luderates, and we can even do more on a household basis in just harvesting or just, how do you say, banking the wind for use in renewable energy. So that's the value you start adding to people. However, anything that you do, which is the P, you have to partner up with people, because people are professionals and are experts in different areas. So that's the RSVP. When you start looking, especially when you're dealing with the hot, with the big shot sort of procrastination, you need to really give them time to teach them how to break down on how to get results, how to add value, which one is more important now, which one might be important later once they start getting all this other information. So it's quite a process. Like I say, it's an exciting process, because it shouldn't be exciting because it's procrastination, but you start getting people getting there. Oh my God, I've been wasting time. I've never been patient enough, but I could have added value. Said it's never too late. It's never too late.
So if you have so many ideas that you cannot actually implement them and you find yourself procrastinating, it's a good idea to look at the results, the systems, value, and partnership.
Yes, because it's really good to look at those things, because it will give you an idea of what is the priority now, and what makes sense to implement now, and what would actually be. If I can give you an example, like today when I was doing this with this client, I realized, and I told them as we were chatting, I said, okay, it seems like the professional program that you have in mind will actually assist you in a year's time to actually develop your consultancy, because the experience that you will gain then will actually be assistance for how to market your consultancy. You understand? So when you start looking at that, in a way, while you're looking at the results, the systems, which are the tools, the value adding, you're actually already prioritizing on what is doable now and what is doable at a later stage, and what makes sense now and what is a waste of time. Actually, it's just what I would call an intention. And with this, again, I always tell people, differentiate between an intention and a goal, because an intention is I want to lose weight. A goal is I want to lose 5 kgs by November. So that helps in prioritizing when it comes to them being big shots, and what is important now, what they could do later, what actually is just not important at all.
Right. What's the third type of procrastination?
So the third type of procrastination is what we would call the dreadhead. They dread. they dread, like, oh my God. they fear change. This one is like, if we can put it in layman's terms, like they don't like change. They like staying in the familiar. So these ones, so the thought of starting something, even the thought of changing things around them, even if it causes them to benefit or to succeed, the thought of venturing into the unknown is too much that it also paralyzes them. They struggle to focus, and they just become, how do you say, like fear of change, like paralyzes them. So for them, they find that they're more comfortable in the unknown. They feel like they can succeed in the unknown. So even if when they try to cross the road, they're like, nah. I think, like they say, better the devil I know than an angel I don't know. And because of that, you find that these ones tend to start, but just one little hiccup of a new process, they back off. Starting is never a problem. They want to start. They are brave enough to start something unfamiliar, but whenever there's just one hiccup on the road, that hump, they go back. They say, no, I knew, and they would say, I knew it wouldn't work.
I knew it.
I knew that it wouldn't work. But most of it, and you find that in some careers or in some especially in jobs that have to do with people, like whether it's leadership, whether it's sales, especially in sales or marketing. These are the people, their biggest fear, first of all, rejection. It's mainly rejection that they fear. So whether if it's a leader, you find that he is afraid that people will not accept, let's say, I mean, a process like performance management, it's one process that people always say, no, 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 I know my boss will use this process to get back to me, so I'm not even going to venture into it. So to start such a process, you find that these people are like, okay, I'm going to start. But as soon as they hear the first no, they're like, you see, this is what I was saying. So they even help people that they're trying to help, or the organization say, we knew this doesn't work. The rejection for them is what paralyzes them to move on. They will actually start with the purpose of proving that thought wrong, that change never works. So, and this is an area where, so most of these people, you find that they will proceed with the process because either there's somebody on top of them telling them, this thing must happen. This thing must happen, or somebody must always push them back into the ring. Push them back into the ring. Again, this brings us back to whatever you do as an individual, you will not succeed alone. Find partnerships, find a coach, find a mentor, because most of these things hold us back, especially when we're struggling with it and dealing with it on our own. You need an objective mind. Just step back into that ring because you want success and you want to succeed. You want to start this new process. It will not happen if you don't jump in and just swim. Just jump in and swim. The breaststroke won't come on its own. You need to jump into the pool and swim. Yeah.
Very powerful, Mercy. And the fourth type.
The fourth type now is the radical defiant. I always call this the Dennis the Menace. They want the big payoffs now. They want the billions now, not next week. If they want to start a company, they are expecting that by next month, they will be the Bill Gates of this world. By next month, they would have made millions and be. So this is the type that is not very patient. As again, like the dreadhead, once something wrong happens when they start, they're not interested anymore. See, with these guys, it's like my way or the highway, and you find that to explain why they didn't continue, they prefer to create a lot of conflict and arguments and so on why they didn't even start, or they started but it just didn't work, and then a week later they were not millionaires. So why should they go in? And you find, and I must say this, not to say anything negative, but it's a phenomenon that I've seen, especially with some close friends of mine have asked me to please speak to their teenage sons or early 20s, early adulthood sons who are into, they feel like, look, they heard Steve Jobs didn't go to school, but he became a millionaire. All these kind, and this is a phenomena. This is a phenomena. So these kids are saying no, they would rather do Herbalife because they're pumping up and stuff like that, and then they get frustrated because they realize, oh my God, I've done Herbalife. 2 years later, I'm still not a millionaire. Something is wrong. Something is wrong here, so they give up. But you even find that even you get adults who are very obsessive compulsive, saying, it's my way or the highway. I know without an education I can do this. I know without a long process I can become a millionaire and stuff like that. So these are people that just want instant results, and their weakness is usually they end up on the wrong side of the of the law or of the team, because it just never happened. That quick back, that quick millionaireship, that it just doesn't happen. But because of this, either they always stay poor because any hiccup just stops them and they move on to the next project as well, because they studying and being an employee didn't get me to be the MD of an organization as I thought I would in 2 years. No, that is not for me. I started my own business, and look, I thought selling fish or whatnot, or selling cars, I thought being a sales car person of BMW would actually get me, because BMW is bigger car. I thought after selling 9 cars, I would be a millionaire. It didn't work out. So these people also tend to jump from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, hoping that they become millionaires. And before they know it, work when they were 18. Amway didn't work when they were 20. Cars didn't work when they were 30, and they're 40 and still broke because through the process. So this is where you start saying, start small. It's a process. Nothing is. I mean, even with Steve Jobs, he had time. He suffered. He got fired. He was persistent and he was consistent and he was adamant, and perseverance was part of the package. So it's quite a process to change people's minds, and especially I'm seeing this a lot, Christine, with rather young adults and young teenagers, with this concept of most businessmen are rich today and they didn't need to go to university. This phenomena is it's so much for the younger people. It's so sad at the same time.
It is, Mercy. Before you move to number 5, I think it's very important for us to put these 2 words together: perseverance and procrastination. To be consistent, you have to persevere, and procrastination interrupts the process.
Exactly. I like that you're putting that together like that. Perseverance is very important. Thank you for putting that together like that.
We're sharing. So what's number 5?
So number 5 is the one that we call the drama junkie. I know, it's like drama junkie, yeah? Okay. So these ones, they are just chronic procrastinators, because my experience with these practical and realistic things are just too boring for these people. So they always like to spice things up with the drama, or for you to kind of feel sorry for them. You know, the ones that you say, oh my God, so your husband didn't let you do that. These people are not good. Oh, did you even... Oh my God! So you mean that they didn't give you a result? NAS didn't give you a result, so you couldn't start. So these are people that tend to be blaming the situation and everything else around them, so that you can feel sorry for them. They like to be the center of attention, but mainly the process is too boring, so they need some flavor to it. I'm sure you've always heard of the drama queens, the drama kings in the office. Like, no, I was about to purchase the house, and oh my God, the bank! You will not believe what that manager said to me, and I just decided, no, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to deal with them, and then the process ends somewhere there with everything. The next time you ask me, Mercy, I remember the last time you were going to deal with the bank manager. What happened? How far is your house? I just left it.
Mercy, I just want to interrupt quickly and ask you, what I'm getting from what you're saying is there's a type of procrastinator who feeds off the reactions of others, number 1, and number 2, dramatic circumstances, so that they can use that as an excuse for not doing something.
They are so addicted to drama. Yes, exactly. You're summarizing it in the most perfect way. Yeah, they feed off.
Unexpected events are part of the process of achieving a goal, right? Things are going to happen. So if you have this type of procrastination style, then when things happen, you magnify that thing that has happened and you say, can you believe this happened? You see, that's why I haven't finished.
You've summarized it quite well, and you find that these people, they just love telling others how dramatic the stories are, even if it's succeeding. I couldn't have said it better than you have. Honestly, they are. You just get these people that the usual ways of doing things, the peaceful ways of getting something done, it's just too boring. It's just boring. So they actually hide behind an event. They create the drama. They create the drama for not doing it. So for me personally, you find that these people are the ones that are always coming up with excuses, but not the usual excuses. It's about feeding off of the environment. Either they magnify anything. So that I didn't do it because of that happened, because of they feed off of the environment in a very negative way. So it's laziness with a spice, like laziness on steroids.
Flair. Laziness. I couldn't do it because of the rainstorm. I couldn't do it because the bank manager was on leave. I couldn't, like you said, Mercy, there's always something that happens. So it's up to you to be consistent or use that as your excuse.
You have to, there's always something that happens, so you have to plan. And I always tell people, everything that happens, I believe honestly in the fact that 80% of how you succeed, what is happening in your life, 50% is based on your decisions or reactions. Only 20% is really outside of your control. And we have so much. We have so much at our disposal based on the decisions we make. Based on the decisions we make or how we react to an environment, that will determine whether our life is successful or not, or that will determine whether the life we are living is as we want it to be, or at least only 20% most of the time is really beyond your control. Is really beyond your control. Like COVID, it's beyond our control. The whole government's locking down regulations and so. But because of that, we've all decided. Some of us have taken the decision to say we are going to reach out to people online.
Yeah,
we are going to make a success of our teaching, our training online. But somebody used to say, oh my God, the dramatic, the drama gen could say, it is the end of the world. I don't do well with being online. People don't understand. I don't even like my voice online. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So, yes.
A very strong point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. The feed off the circumstances around us and attach ourselves to those things and use that as another reason to procrastinate. So what is the last procrastination style, Mercy?
The last procrastination style, I think it's one of the things that I would say as a teenager and as a young adult, I also struggled with. But I must also point out something, Christine, before I continue. You will find that you will have a characteristic from almost 2 or 3 different ones of the procrastination types, but you will always find that there's one that tends to carry, let's say, 3 or more. That is your type. So you have to just find out what it is and stuff like that. The last one is the angry outrage. This one, I said I also struggled with it because that saying yes and the inability to say no. The inability to say no to people when you can't, when you don't have the resources. The inability to just say, this is where I am, I'm so busy, or I can't because, not because you're making excuses, but some people, and I was one of them at some point, it was very difficult for me to say no because I was afraid of hurting people, and not necessarily avoiding conflict, but I didn't want to hurt people. And that's what was dependent on me, and I just wanted to be the, how do you say, the person that takes care of the whole village. But at the same time, this kind of procrastinator, you find that to avoid conflict, you will say yes to different people, but then you end up disappointing so many people. But you will not get to everybody's whatever it is that they've asked you. So Mercy has asked you to babysit her 2-year-old. At the same time, you said yes to Johannes, who said he didn't have time to wash his car. Do you mind to take it to the car wash? Here you are, you have Mercy's 2-year-old that you've agreed to take you on a day like today, which is Kasinga and holiday. And at the same time, your best friend is having a birthday party today and you haven't attended it in 5 years, or you haven't seen this person in 5 years. So you also say yes to come to their party. Somebody will be disappointed. There is just something that you not get to doing. And chances are, for some people, on all the three things, you will not show up because you tend to have a breakdown. So you are so service-driven, but the thing is self-sacrificing, service-driven. You either disappoint two of those people, so you will not get that thing done, or at the end of the day, you even get ones with the ostrich syndrome, who just put their head under the sand and run away from everything. So. Honestly, the intention or the heart behind the angry outburst is really a good one. So they start feeling resentful towards their friends because they are the ones who couldn't say no. They are the ones who couldn't say no, but they start being resentful towards their best friend who invited them for a party on a day like today when they had to take care of Christine's 2-year-old. But the friend doesn't know about that. The friend is just excited to spend some time with them, but they start building up anger. And sometimes out of that anger, they just don't show up, thinking that Christine can smell the fact that, honestly, I have so much on my plate, you should understand. But you said yes to Christine Mercy. You said yes. And literally, I think one of the weakness of this, you want to help, but you get so resentful because you give so much of yourself. And on this one, we just need to learn how to say, no, my plate is really full. I love you like you. If it was another day, I would gladly do it. But most of us sometimes, especially when it comes to family, when it comes to cousins and relatives, you tend to, you are meant. Sometimes some of these things, it's more cultural that influences you. You are guilted in saying no. They make you feel like saying no to a relative who needs help is bad. Saying no without explanation to somebody who needs financial assistance when you have a proper job is bad. So some of these things are actually, they become part of you, not because of your 100% personality, but also the culture where we are brought up in. As a woman, you're expected to be the caregiver. Then if Christine or if Christopher, my brother, needs help with his 2-year-old, I should say yes, because of the culture that I'm from. Well, my best friend, how would they look at me? Or maybe it's even my cousin getting married next weekend and they just tell me today, how would they look at me if I say, no, I can't come because I'm babysitting? It's a wedding, they need me to be in the kitchen. So some of these things, especially this when you find that apart from personality, it's also the cultural environment where how we are brought up and how we are meant to feel bad, how we are meant to always give ourselves endlessly. And you will find that this is very common in most women. And despite of race or anything, this is one thing that I've come across that is very common based on the cultural expectations on most of us.
I really like the way that you've broken it down. This procrastination style seems so multi-layered. It's one that I've struggled with myself because I think there's also an aspect of self-abandonment, where you literally neglect yourself and put everybody else's needs first. And then the fear of having to put in the work to make your own goals a reality. And you just hide behind all your other responsibilities. So I think that's where the procrastination comes in, because you say, no, I have to do this. This person asked me for this, and my boss asked me for this, my colleague asked me for this, my church mate asked me for this, and I want to show up in all of these places. And if I hide behind being so busy, then I don't actually have to sit down and do my own work. I have a reason.
But that's also perfectly said. Then I have an excuse because I showed up. And sometimes you actually consciously, yes, like you say, consciously say, no, I'm glad actually Thingy asked me to do this, and I will not show this. No, 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 no. I was supposed to finish that chapter on the HR book that we're writing. So I'll just tell my partner that, you know what, I couldn't write the chapter because my church members expected this. So sometimes we even embrace it. We embrace this and we confidently and actively and consciously hide behind it. Honestly, we do this a lot. Like, I mean, how many times do you commit to somebody or something, and you actually pray that they don't call because you just don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah.
You just feel like you just don't want to do it anymore. So exactly, this is where the procrastination comes, where we hide behind the 1,000 things that we've committed to, not to get to our own thing that really we wanted to start. I wanted to start my book launch this weekend, but out of fear of what will the turnout be? There's also a couple of fears in this one. First of all, there's fear of rejection also. If I say, you know, what will they say about me? So they will reject me. However, maybe I can deal with this kind of rejection, but rejection of people not showing up. No. Let me just hide behind these activities that I am the one showing up. I am the one who has to do the giving. Therefore, I don't have to experience rejection because I'm the one giving the service. I'm self-sacrificing myself, but at least I'll avoid feeling bad that somebody will reject me, and then I don't have to do that one, and I'll just commit to this one, which I might not even do very well. Right. So, yeah. So these are more or less the 6 types of procrastinations, and as I say, they are the root cause of why we put things off. The procrastination, the putting things off or delaying starting or not finishing is just a symptom of what is really going on in our lives. How can we handle all these things that we need to deal with? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Before we end, before we talk about what you do, a quick rundown, quickly, the 6 types and a brief description in a few words from number 1 to 6.
So the quick rundowns, we have the first one that we talked about earlier, which is the obsessive idealist. This one waits for everything to be perfectly in place before they can start. So they have the all or nothing kind of thing. Conditions must be perfect before we start. Then the big shot, the ideas or the projects that they have is just too big that to start it paralyzes them and it bores them easily. Then they move on to the next project, to the next big idea. And then the dreadhead just fears change. Change paralyzes them. They would rather stay within the familiar. Now the radical defiant, they want the immediate results, the immediate payoffs, the immediate millions. If they start, they can easily start, but if there's no payoff after a week, they give up. Millions must happen now. It's now or never, and I will not move on. The drama junkie, I would rather hide behind the environment, feed off the environment about why I cannot start something. So we are always full of excuses, and those excuses must be very dramatic. We feed off people's emotions, and I like the way you immediately laugh. Then a tourist, it's mainly the person that is unable, they're self-sacrificing by giving so much of themselves that they don't get to do what they're supposed to do. Basically by giving so much of themselves to other people, and that hinders them from getting to their own projects. There's a lot of self-sacrificing in here, but also hiding behind other people's projects. So those are more like the type of procrastination type.
Thank you so much. Ame just said to us that she says, "You've made me reflect on my personality, Mercy. Thank God for this." I mean, this is a very important topic. Like we said at the beginning, procrastination is not talk about all the time, but it has root causes and it expresses it or manifests in different ways. Mercy, please tell us about yourself and what you do and how we can get in touch with you for more of this, because I'm sure some of us would like to work with you one-on-one, you know, like when we know our dramatic procrastination styles, you know, how do we get out of this?
Okay, so the company is called Dimple Psychometrics. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram. Look, my motto, or the company of Dimples, is mainly know yourself to grow yourself. And this is why I do all these teachings. I normally start with the psychometric assessment for you to really understand why your thinking style, the communication style, and this, it becomes like an onion. As soon as you know what your style is, it's easy to say, oh, this is why I procrastinate like this. This is why I make decisions like this. This is why, you know, some procrastination, you even find that people procrastinate because they don't want to look stupid, but because of their personality. You understand? So I'm such a drama junkie when it comes to typing. Are very unique, so discover your uniqueness to get to your greatness. So I'm very passionate about people really understanding who they are, why they do things. That is the only way they can get to their greatness. So I am, as I said, on Instagram, I'm Mercy Situ. On Facebook, you can just Google Dimple Psychometrics. I am on LinkedIn as Mercy Stimbeko, but you can also email me or email Dimples at info@dimples.com.na. Our website is www.dimples.com.na. You can also get us there. So yeah,
I'll share that information, your contact information. I'll put it in the caption. And
right.
going to be one of our coaches at the upcoming Purpose Accelerator Clinic in June. We're so excited about it. And before we go, Mercy, you are an industrial psychologist by training, but you're also a certified performance technologist. Before you go, what does that mean?
Okay, so yes, by profession, I'm a psychometrist with the Health Professions Council of South Africa, and I am trained now, certified as a performance expert. What that means is, again, the RSVP. We try and train people, organization as a certified performance technologist, that results should always be the focus of whatever it is that you're doing. You must look at the systems that will lead you to those results. However, results don't necessarily mean that you are adding value.
Fascinating. Mercy, thank you so much for joining us. You're somebody who's so easy to talk to and listen to.
No, thank you so much, Christine. Like I say, you have this brilliance that just embraces people, and you make it easy. You make it easy.
I'm happy to hear that. And Mercy, I love how you always have like yellow in your background. There's always yellow around you, and that's exactly how your energy is. Happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And I will put Mercy's contact details in the recording of this later on. And don't forget to sign up for the Purpose Accelerator Clinic so that you can get one of Mercy's psychometric tests, and she'll tell you all these wonderful things about yourself.
Thank you so much, Christine. It was really a pleasure. And yeah, I can't wait to be on the Purpose Accelerator Clinic. People need to join. You have to join. This is the only way you can discover your greatness. And there is so much greatness that even us as coaches will be getting from this as well, and we'll be learning. So thank you so much, Christine.
Thanks again. Good night.